Okay, here we go. Today we have LaSheena Weekly, who is the mother of FBG Duck, who very tragically passed away in Chicago last month. You know, I really wish that we were speaking under better conditions, in more of a celebratory manner, but unfortunately we are here today. But I think it's very important, this is why I reached out, because when it comes to hip hop and when it comes to certain types of music and these artists, a lot of things get glamorized and a lot of things get portrayed a certain type of way, and people don't get to see what really happens on the other side, you know, with people's mothers and the loss and the heartbreak and everything that goes through it. So thank you so much for sitting down with me today and sharing your story.
You're welcome, Vlad. You're welcome.
Well, I've interviewed FBG Duck on 2 occasions. I'm not sure if you saw those interviews or
I
not.
seen them. I seen them.
I never got to meet him in person. We did our interviews remotely, but we did have very in-depth interviews, and we got into a lot of very serious issues. And I liked him very much.
Yes.
I thought he was a very upstanding person.
Yes,
I liked
he
his
was.
music, which is why I reached out to him multiple times. But I really want to get into your backstory before leading up to what actually happened. So you grew up in Chicago?
Yes, I did. Ivy Wells Projects, 39th Street. And Duck, when I had Duck, I stayed in the Ivy Wells Projects.
Okay. And how many children did you have total?
10.
10 children.
Yes.
Okay. And Jermaine Robinson, aka FBG Brick, that was your oldest?
That was my firstborn child, yes.
Okay. Well, how hard was it growing up in Chicago?
It could have been harder. It was very hard. We had our struggles. I've also had a good upbringing, far as my grandmother being a caregiver for me and my children. So, I mean, it wasn't easy, but we made it through.
Okay. And how old were you when you first started having children?
I was very young. I was 15 years old when I had Jermaine.
Okay. And how hard was it? I mean, at 15 years old, you're what, a sophomore in high school?
I was a sophomore in high school, yes. But like I said, my grandmother, VladTV Weekly, who raised us, she was the matriarch of our family. She was actually her father's only child. And she had 9 kids of her own, which was my grandmother, which was my mom. And out of her 9 kids, she had 57 grandkids out of just her 9 kids, which consists of me. So she passed in 2008, in April of 2008. And when she passed here, she had 151 great-grandkids, which consists of Duck. And all our kids, these are from her grandchildren's children. And she knew us all. That's how family, we were like 17 in a 3-bedroom apartment. So we were very close. And the struggle was hard. But from the moment I heard my son open his mouth, I'm sorry, because I said I wasn't going to do this, but it was such a gift to hear what I heard. And he was like 8 years old. He's always been into music. It has always been his life. When he did the little growth spurt, he tried basketball. He was always good at sports. And when he realized that music was an outlet to make a better way for his family, he used it to the best of his ability. And he gave the fans what they wanted. He was always musically talented. he can sing. Like, I say this rap stuff came about in 2010. But see, back in the days, we used to have these picnics for Father's Day. And Duck would be always the one getting on the stage, getting the microphone, jumping all over the stage. And I used to see people in the crowd watching him like, y'all see him in the jersey? Y'all see? And he always just performed. It was always in him. It was always in him.
So FBG Duck started rapping. I'm sure he had a different name back then.
Chunky
and did
Duck.
things start to kind of move along quickly when he first started?
Well, I've been my son's biggest fan since he started trying to do this. I used to have like my number used to be on his Twitter, and I would book shows for him. I would do like hookup features for him. And then he started getting more mainstream. So he felt that he needed a more advanced person, which I was fine by that because I don't know nothing about that, but I know my son. And I know when he set his mind to something, he did it. Like, only thing he ever wanted to do seriously is make a better way for his family.
Well, when I interviewed Duck the first time, we talked about a few incidents that happened in Chicago.
Mhm.
And I guess he had been shot 2 different times.
Yes.
The first time you get shot, you stay in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
The second time you get shot, you're still in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about how, how much you value your life and how careful you are and how you know people want to hurt you, but yet you're still in the same area where these shootings are happening. Like, why not move?
See what it was? I went in the same area. Like I said, you put yourself in somewhere you don't want to be, then you got to be ready for what's coming. You feel me? I was just in the wrong place. I wasn't supposed to be there, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. You feel me? But the second time I got shot, I was leaving the liquor store. Motherfucker followed me. I ain't see it coming. You feel me? Motherfucker got up on me. I'm just glad they ain't killed me. You feel me? Motherfucker shot me in the leg. Hey, went to the hospital, got it wrapped up, went to the party.
Okay, but it's still Chicago both times, right?
Yeah, still in Chicago both times.
When he got shot the first time, how did you react to it, and what type of conversations did you guys have?
I was scared because it was before Brick was killed. So when I heard he was shot, before he was shot, he was stabbed. So I was kind of, I could have lost him then because the way he was stabbed, he had to have emergency surgery. So it wasn't fit for him to leave at the time. So he continued, he pursued, he continued. He was blackballed, like, to the fullest. Everybody see that, the world see that, but he broke through that barrier and was still able to keep his fans. Everybody was still, like, listening to his music. So I was very proud of him about that.
Right, the stabbing happened with his girlfriend at the time, right?
Yes, an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think he said that you wanted him to press charges, but he didn't want to press charges.
Yeah, I was angry. What mother wouldn't? I mean, you damn near killed my child. Yes, I was angry. It's either you gonna go to jail or deal with me. I'd rather the police deal with you. But
Right.
He didn't. Just like the man he was, he admitted his faults. And he always took responsibility for what he did and tried to make it better. That was just Duck.
Well, when he got shot the second time, what happened then in terms of the conversations you guys had?
Yeah. I just, was thankful that it wasn't fatal. And I used to tell him, like, God is trying to tell you something. You need to move different. You need to find another way to get stuff across, because now you got people trying to kill you because of who you are. And that was just a great entertainer from Chicago who was blackballed by his own people. And that's the sad part about it.
Well, I did an interview with him in 2017.
I remember that.
And in the interview, we talked about the stabbing and we talked about the 2 shootings. And if you remember the interview, I started asking him, well, why don't you move away? And I was fairly pushy about it. I said, look, these situations have happened to you. They were not accidental, they were intentional. They all are happening in the same city. Why not move away? And Duck kept giving me all these reasons why he's not gonna move away. Well, no, that was because I was in the wrong area. That was my own fault. Well, no, I don't trust people, and I trust the people who I'm around. I don't wanna move somewhere else and not trust anyone who I happen to meet. And this conversation happened for about 15 minutes. And you remember this conversation, right? So what I'm saying is, you see a lot of Chicago artists who just leave Chicago. You see Chief Keef. He live in Calabasas, around where I live. You don't see Chief Keef back in Chicago anymore. I don't remember the last time I've heard of Chief Keef in Chicago. Dirk, I think, moved to Atlanta. Was it King Yella, I think, moved to, Vegas or something? Like, you see, Bibby and Herb, I don't think that they really stay in Chicago all that often anymore either. Like, why stay in Chicago when these types of shootings are happening?
See, what it is with me, like, I got more in Chicago probably than they got more in Chicago. Like, it's shit that I gotta make sure I take care of here first before I do anything. Like, you feel me? Like, and plus, I ain't the type of motherfucker that want to go move to another city, because I don't trust nobody. You feel me? I don't trust new people. I don't want to hang around new people. I don't want no new friends, because I don't trust nobody. Yeah, motherfucker could turn fake on you anywhere. You can die anywhere. You can get shot anywhere. You feel me? But it's just like, in Chicago, I know better. You feel me? Like, I know what to do and what don't to do and what not to do. You feel me? And it's like, now how I move around, shit, I'm safe. You feel me? I ain't gonna say too much, but, you know what I'm saying? I'm groovy. And plus, like you just said, I ain't gonna put my boy Yella in their predicament. But everybody besides Yella, like, them niggas is real rappers. You feel me? Like, them niggas scared. It ain't cause they got money and move. A lot of niggas will tell you it's cause I got money. I'm rich. Why I gotta be in Chicago? No, you scared. You in these songs and shit, rapping and shit, but you really scared. That's why you got the fuck out of Chicago, cause you a bitch.
The person who ain't scared and ends up dying and ends up with their name, with their face on a t-shirt, as opposed to the person who says, you know something, I'm not gonna keep fighting this fight, I'm gonna move. They could say I'm scared, but like, I'm still alive.
I know what you saying, but like I told you, the way I move is different from them niggas. I hang with a bunch of retarded motherfuckers, you feel me? And the way it's set up, like, we ready for whatever now. I mean, whatever it is, you feel me? I make money every day, you feel me? As long as my people straight, that's all that really matter. I don't gotta move, I don't gotta go nowhere. You feel me? I can stay right here in Chicago. But it's like, when I move, you'll never know it's me unless I let you know it's me. I'm like a ghost. You can't see me. I see you, but you don't see me. You feel me?
Well, when you saw that as his mother, what did you think?
Well, I thought it's a lot of reasons why he didn't leave. It wasn't because he wasn't scared. He didn't fear his safety. I mean, he's in his own city. The fact that he was worth more than what they were trying to give him is the reason why he wasn't able to get up and just leave. He wasn't finna leave his mother. You understand what I'm saying? If they would have gave him the means and the ways to really move his family out of Chicago, that would have been done. Even with the blackballing, he was still able to make a way for me and his kids and his family. That was important to Duck. You know, he wasn't that selfish. You see what I'm saying? And I moved out the city to make it safer for him. I moved out the city. I went to the suburbs, because I'm trying to let him know I get out the city. He was worried about me. He was worried about his kids. And frankly, they didn't give him enough to move his family. So he stayed and he still made a way. But it was happening. It was finna happen. It was finna happen. And then he was murdered in broad daylight in the most safest, prestigious place in Chicago.
I just want to lead the story, your story leading up to that situation.
Okay.
Well, in 2014, you lost your 3-year-old daughter.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I had a house fire where my daughter passed away in the fire.
Oh, that must have been a rough one.
Yeah. And the circumstances around her was very traumatic as well. But we got through that. See, as a family, that's how strong we are. We got through that because it was very hard for us. I was homeless for like 2 years. And when I finally got stable again, that happened to Brick. I wasn't even done grieving over her because that was a very tragic moment in my life.
Was that the hardest thing at that point in your life that you went through when you lost your 3-year-old?
Yes. And I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah.
On top of everything that's happened after that, I'm still dealing with it.
Well, after the death of your daughter, it seemed like a bunch of things happened. It seems like, Child Protective Services came in
Yes,
and I
they
guess took
did.
3 of your kids.
2.
And then I think you sued the house. Oh, 2 of your kids?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think you sued the housing project because there weren't fire detectors or something. So it seemed like there was a lot of...
we weren't in the project. I was actually living in an apartment building up north.
Oh, sorry. Well, my apologies about that.
The project been gone since 2007. We haven't lived in the project since 2007. So they put us on these blocks. They tear our buildings down. We were safe. I don't care what nobody say. They put us on these blocks, and the kids is running wild. I said a lot of times, the majority of, because this music, like anybody who will tell you, far as his Duck music, I love his music when he keeps it positive, because I know what he's capable of. But the diss music, as his mother, I didn't agree with it. Okay, I'm gonna support him in everything he do. But I also told him how I felt about it. And the majority of them kids that he's dissing, mothers are friends of mine. We grew up in the projects together. So when the buildings got torn out, everybody picked their side. They went, so that's how that came about. Some of them are even related to each other.
Wow.
And that's the sad part about it. But because he was good at what he did, to keep talking about his dead brother, mixing in his deceased. I mean, these kids got a crazy way of making each other mad, if you ask me. It's crazy. Because to me, the dead is fine. While they out here dissing each other, All of them went to heaven. God forgave every last one of them for their sins. So now, the believer that I am, they are looking down on us, trying to get some type of voice, some type of purpose to stop all this. My son ain't die for nothing. I will get justice for him. His music will continue to live on. The fans will still hear FBG Duck for years to come. Because that's how much music he had.
I mean, I was a fan. I remember during our last interview, I told him how much I loved the song Slide, which was like his first hit song. I mean, Slide is a hit. Like, I've been listening to that shit nonstop.
Yeah, that's the shit I like to hear. That's why I made it.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that, like, you hear it, and you know, the more you hear it, the more you start noticing little things about it, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just a dope ass song, man. Congrats on pulling that off.
Appreciate it.
That's the song that broke him through the blackballing barrier. Mm-hmm. No matter, Duck has had more good music before then. And he, so to say, I called it, bullied his way with that song. It's what the fans wanted. It was what the fans wanted. He was an entertainer. That's what he did. He gave the fans what they wanted. He was more than drill music. And you will see, when I start dropping his music, the world is gonna see how versatile he was. I mean, to keep on egging at him and talk about his, like, when Brick left us, that, on top of not dealing with Leandria's passing, then Brick left us. That sent me in a state to where I didn't know if I was coming or going. And if you notice that picture of us at Brick's crime scene, and my auntie holding me, and Carlton was in my ear, he showed that on one of his videos. He say he don't rap about his life too much. He talk about okay. I was telling my son, I say, please, I need you here. Please don't do nothing stupid. I can't lose you too. My son listened to me. He put all that pain in his music. He put it all in his music. And he could have went crazy. This image that they trying to put on my son, if that was what he wanted to be on, what was stopping him from doing that? He wanted better. He wanted better for his city. When he did finally leave and get us out of here, he still got 1 million family members here that knows who he is, that knows he's kin. So why he don't, what's wrong with him making sure that when he do leave, that the family that's still here is protected and safe?
In 2017, July 2017, that was when Jermaine Robinson, your oldest child, aka FBG Brick, was shot and killed, along with
my little
his cousin.
Yeah,
right?
my little cousin, Kobe.
Kobe Mack.
Yeah.
And that was the same situation, right? It was a multiple homicide.
Yes. That's still unsolved. Yes.
Oh, it's still unsolved?
Yes, they still haven't arrested no one for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I asked him about that, and I couldn't tell whether he was just trying to, use the code of the streets to not say anything, or whether there was anything going on. The people that were responsible for this, for these two murders, were they caught, or is it still an open case? So nobody knows what happened.
Like, even if I did, I wouldn't even speak on it.
No, I understand. I'm not asking you to tell me what you personally know. I'm saying that officially, like, officially, has anybody been charged for it? Has anyone?
I don't even know.
You don't even know? Okay. All right. I understand, man. But as you're telling me now, it's still an unsolved murder,
Yes,
which is a shame. Now, losing your 3-year-old daughter was unbelievably traumatic. But now you lost your first child, who is an adult, because he was around 30 years old?
26.
26, sorry.
Duck was also 26.
Yeah. So you lose your oldest son, FBG Brick. How badly did that hit you at that point?
I mean, as a mother, to lose a child is devastating. I wouldn't wish that pain on nobody. Not even the people that took him away from me. I wouldn't even want their mothers to feel this pain. It is horrible. And a lot of people ain't strong enough and built, because I've seen people lose their kids and took their own lives because they wasn't strong enough to deal with what's going on. But I serve a just God, okay? And I'm not gonna miss out on nothing that God is preparing me for. I wouldn't dare do that. Yes, it's hard. And that messed me up as a parent, especially the circumstances surrounding his death. It still haunts me right now to this day. And I never seen this in a million years, that it would be Duck.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed Duck after the death of his brother, and we talked about that. And, obviously he was very hurt over it, but he also said it's life. It comes with the streets.
Yes.
If you're going to be out there,
the game
what he
is
said,
cold.
you either have to kill or be killed, and unfortunately this is what comes with it.
I mean, it's life. That's what comes with the streets. You feel me? Not saying that it was bad or good that it happened, but if you just the shit you want to do, them the consequences that come with it. You know what I'm saying? That's for anybody on this earth. If you want to be a gangbanger, you got to be prepared for this shit. Either you take a life or you get yours took.
He, it was a very kind of cold thing from my point of view to say, but it seems like, but this is his brother and he has the right to say it. So when you heard him say that, how did you feel?
I mean, I raised some stand-up men to speak their mind and to speak how they feel. I mean, if you can't be real with yourself, how you expect to be real with anybody else? Duck never sugarcoated nothing. He kept stuff how it was. He kept it real. And I didn't look at him no different. I didn't dislike him. That's how he felt. Now, if you ask me that same question, I'd probably give you a different response, because I'm a mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then in August of 2020, Carlton Weekly, aka FBG Duck, your son, was killed in front of the Chanel store.
Dolce and Gabbana.
Oh, Dolce and Gabbana. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. In an area that was the equivalent of a Rodeo Drive.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The
and
Rodeo
I remember,
Drive of
when I spoke to him that first time in that first interview, he was telling me, well, I got shot because I was in an area I wasn't supposed to be. But this is not an area where there's any danger. This is a high-profile tourist area with $1 million stores and so forth.
And them people are mad. Them people are mad down there. They want justice for my son just as well as anybody else, because they feel they're not safe. If this can happen down here, we want answers. So I have them people also helping. They want answers. They want to know, how can this young man get killed in broad daylight? Y'all posting looters, but y'all ain't post. But it's reasons for that. I will get justice for my son.
Well,
the fact,
wait,
I'm gonna say this, Vlad. The fact
Yeah.
that, and this is common sense from any man, the fact that the person that killed my son didn't care of the risk of getting caught. They didn't care. They wanted him that bad. So who would want somebody that it ain't about no song. If that was the case, Expose Me would have been got him killed. I stayed behind Parkway for 3 years. I ain't get so much as a splinter before I moved from over there. So this not about that. This is deeper than that. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Well, according to reports, he was walking down the street with another man and a woman.
No. See, them not the
No?
receipt. That's not what happened. He was in another store called Milano's, the first store that's located right before Dolce and Gabbana. They were parked on the other side of the street. He was with one young lady. Okay? He went in that store. From the time he left home, my house, we were planning on playing cards, bringing my grandmother's birthday in. The lady who I was just talking about, her birthday was August 5th. We play cards. That's what he do. If you look at all my videos, you don't see me doing nothing but family stuff with my son. He dislocated himself from everybody. If they wasn't related, he didn't have them around him. For the last couple of years, that's how he been moving. Because himself, something that I don't know that he knew made him want to do that.
Right, because he has 4 children, right?
Yes, 3 boys and 1 girl.
And I guess he was shopping for one of his children.
My grandson, yes. When he went in the store, Milano, he went in there. And he was shopping, and he was able to pay. He paid $250 for a pair of Givenchy socks and a t-shirt for my grandson. That was all he paid before he noticed the so-called fans coming there and want to take pictures with him. That's when he asked the lady in that store, can he go to the back? Because he seen it. He knew it. And that lady told my son no because of her merchandise. But he just spent $250 on a pair of socks and a t-shirt because they spotted him. But truth be told, they was gonna kill him in that store. But he decided to leave, doing his duty that he didn't put them people at risk. He even told one of the young ladies in the store, get in her car and leave.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking for my son, why didn't he leave? Everybody's saying why he didn't leave from down there. I wouldn't leave from the most prestigious place if I know some killers is on me. If they gonna kill me, they're gonna kill me right here. If they're gonna do anything to me, they're gonna do it right here. I know my son. I know how he thought. 26 years. I know that boy.
Well, according to reports, 2 cars pulled up and 4 people with guns opened fire.
Yeah.
And along with Duck getting shot, 2 other people were shot as well.
Yes. The young lady who was with him.
Yeah.
The young lady who was with him and the gentleman who was standing in behind him because they let 2 young ladies in first. But he hadn't already spotted them from the other store. So he rode around the block. And that's how he ended up in front of Dolce and got out. And he was following the rules of the social distance. He was standing outside. And in the midst of him finna go in there next, a fan was talking to him. That was the gentleman who got caught, who got shot with him. Duck didn't know that young man. He wasn't with Duck. He was an innocent victim.
Yeah.
And the young lady who was with him, if it wasn't for her, ain't no telling how they would have shot my son. Because she returned fire on them.
Oh, she had a gun and started shooting back.
Yes. She was licensed to carry, yes. He never went nowhere without nobody who couldn't be licensed to carry.
Oh, wow.
The reason he stopped carrying guns because I told him, You know that's the feds is here. You know, he listened to me. So he wasn't worried about it. He believed in God, and I'm fine with that. You live, you die. It might sound cruel or cruel, but I serve a just God, Vlad. Do you understand? And I'm speaking to you as a mother right now.
Well, when you first heard the news, when you first got that phone call, after losing your son a few years prior and then losing your daughter a few years before that, how did you deal with that?
Well, I didn't know he was gone. The news actually announced he was dead before I can even go to the hospital to verify it. They're seeing it on they're seeing it on the breaking news. Rapper known as FBG Duck is dead. I get to the hospital. They reported him dead at 5 o'clock, but they didn't tell me till 9. While they're around the corner keeping us on this side, the news people is around the corner trying to tarnish his name. Somebody actually clapped in the crowd when they pronounced my son of being deceased. You heard somebody say, I hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. And to add insult to injury, this mayor who I voted for got on national TV and said my son fancied himself as a rapper when he was really a gangbanger. Carlton doesn't even have a felony criminal record. He's never been to the penitentiary. He's been to the county a couple of times. I'm not saying he's innocent, but he never been to the penitentiary. He's never stayed no longer in the county like 2 or 3 days. That's the longest he ever stayed locked up. Like, where are you getting your information from? And August 30th, they raided my house. I lived in Markham. The Chicago Police Department came to my house August 30th and raided my house.
Wow.
After my son has been killed, taking my pictures, taking his pictures off my little mantle, going in a room, taking pictures of it, like violated me to the fullest. The search warrant said they were looking for someone who didn't live there, and they were looking for automatic weapons and guns and proof that the person who they were looking for lived there. They found none of that. Tore my house up. So I feel like I'm just, because they knew they were lawfully, they never tried to help my son. They never tried to apply pressure to him. They never did CPR. They didn't cut him. They didn't do nothing. They even blocked the ambulance off from getting to him when he was shot. See, that's what they don't want the world to know. But I'm going to tell it, and I'm going to get justice for my son.
Well, FBG Duck put out a lot of music, and he was on social media a lot. Based on everything that he put out there, he associated himself with the Gangster Disciples.
Exactly. And it ain't no different from dude associating himself from being BD. They picked a side. Affiliated, I'm not saying my son wasn't affiliated. That's all he talked about. He rapped about that. Far as I'm knowing that somebody blessing him in and use a GD now and all that, that never happened. But if you're gonna pick a side, he chose the side that he felt more comfortable with. It's no difference from them being BDs. That's what they want to try to make. They make music. They even got videos of people pretending to be Duck, like they killing them. You understand what I'm saying? That's what they...
Yeah.
So to try to make my son, because he was still able to walk around his city and no fear and not worrying about somebody doing nothing to him, because the people that was a threat to him supposed to have moved away.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that part.
Well, and after his death, you know, when I talk about the GD association, he dropped a song called "Dead Bitches"
That was
a few
before
weeks
his
ago.
death. Right.
And in that song, he basically started pointing out all his enemies that have gotten killed
Same
over the
people
years.
he mixing then exposed me. Them the same names. He ain't mixing nobody's name. But the reason he did that, because I'm not gonna mention his name, but he's making videos talking about he picked up Brick and merched it on Brick, and then you throwing it at the car, saying he's throwing. These kids know what they doing. They know what they be doing. My son wasn't no saint. He was a protector. He wasn't out here killing people and doing all this and doing that. They not finna tell me that. His image might have thought. You would have thought that. But this man was merely an entertainer. It's no different from John and they rock and roll and all this. It's an image. Because they doing all this and letting fight, that don't mean they out there causing menace. It's an image. And the image got my son killed, not no song. Him being the person he was, the realest person he was, got him killed. Who would want him dead that bad?
Yeah. Well, around the time violence in Chicago was soaring, murders were up 152% from the year before. And after the murder, you spoke publicly and you said, "I'm here today to ask for peace in the city of Chicago."
And I
I'm
meant
asking
every word.
that his fans, friends of my son, please do not seek retaliation in the death of my son.
Please.
As his mother, I want to say, please put the guns down so that the generation of tomorrow can grow and live a long and healthy life.
I meant every word of it. I meant every word. I want these guys caught. I want them prosecuted. If they dead, they're not gonna do nothing. They're gonna be dead. They're not gonna suffer for what they did. I don't want them dead. I don't want no more innocent kids dying. Because they're not even hitting who they trying to kill. They just killed the 8-year-old girl the other day who had a twin. So sad. But they want to try to blame, since Carlton been dead, all the violence that's going on. Like, and it's no different from when he was here. The feds been here since July. How can my son get killed in broad daylight in August and the feds is here?
Yeah. I mean, such a sad story, such a tragic part of history. And like I said, I'm just very glad I got to interview him twice. I got to give him his flowers while he was still there to actually smell them. And I just think is so important, because so much of this is glamorized in the music, and everyone is all into a certain topic, and then the next day some other piece of news comes out and people forget about it. But as a mother, you don't forget about this. This is gonna stay with you until your last breath. And I wanna show that this is what happens behind the music and behind the diss songs and behind the gang affiliations and the showing off and the clout chasing and so forth on all sides, is that behind all this and behind the lights and the camera and the fancy videos, you have the grieving mother, you have the siblings who now have lost their brother, you have 4 children who won't get to have a father growing up.
And they never
such a sad story.
Never took that. That did none of that matter to the people that killed him. They just wanted him out the way. He was finna sign a deal with Rap-A-Lot. He was leaving Sony. Yes, he was leaving Sony. Sony chefed him. Sony picked out his song for his album and never released it, because they saying another artist was doing more numbers than him. But the minute he died, they want to start dropping songs off the album that they haven't even paid him for. They paid the producers for the song, but we haven't seen anything from that.
Well, LaSheena, I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't even begin to even tell you that I feel what you're going through, because I don't. I can't. I don't think very many people can. To lose a child, to lose 3 children in 6 years is just beyond my comprehension. But with the attention that this got, I feel that this is ultimately going to create a positive in the long run, because people get to see, with interviews like this and with the media coverage and his music living on forever, way past our lifetimes. You know, someone's going to be listening to Slide 100 years ago and they're going to be dancing in a party to it, you know, and I'm sure that brings a smile to your face.
Yes, it does.
You know, and I wish you all the best, and I wish, you know, you and your family to stay safe in the coming years. And I definitely appreciate you coming in and telling your story, because it was something that you didn't have to do.
Thank you. I just felt the need to be told, because they want to put this negative image out about him. And they don't look at the positive stuff, like things that he was planning on doing for his city. He loved his city. He loved Chicago. You understand what I'm saying, Vlad? He loved this city.
Yeah. You could tell. You could tell.
And they wasn't gonna run him away. And they not, you know, when we was planning on leaving, trust me, we was in the works of leaving. That's why they felt they had to get him out the way. Whoever did that to my son, they couldn't see him signing with Rap-A-Lot.
Yeah.
They couldn't see that, because the blackballing is over with. He have songs with a lot of mainstream artists. Lucci, Kevin Gates, even sent the song to Polo G. He never got on it. He never responded back to it. So people pick their sides of who they want to mess, overlooking who is the better person. And if that wasn't my son, I'll still be saying it. I'll still be saying it. That man, he was an astonishing man. He grew up from coming from where we come from. He grew up to be an astonishing young man. And I am glad God chose me to be those kids' mothers, man.
Well, my extreme condolences to you and to his children, his 4 kids who have to grow up without having him around. But you know, it seems like you're a very strong person. You've been through this before. You're going to get through this as well. And hopefully that people watching this right here are going to see the ramifications of their actions. So before they jump in the booth and they start to diss their enemies, or before they go on social media and start to cause a bunch of ruckus, that they're going to sit back and think like...
You got people dissing my son right now, and it's funny. You got these people dissing my son that wouldn't have the balls to do it while he was here. That means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot. You got people coming here staying that wouldn't stay here while he was alive. That means a lot. And it's okay. Because I ain't got to worry about him no more, Vlad. I know where he at. I know I didn't put him in no grave. I brought my baby home with his brothers and his sisters, like we talked about.
Right. And considering where it happened, I cannot imagine this being an unsolved case.
No.
This has to be solved in the near future. There are so many cameras. There are so many witnesses. There's people who are not affiliated with the streets that are going to work with the police on this. And in the near future, I expect you to have some justice. And although it's not going to bring a total closure, because nothing could bring closure to this situation, at least the people who did this will, I think, eventually will be brought to justice.
Yeah. and they gonna tell who paid them. A lot of stuff gonna come out. A lot of stuff. Because that was a hit. Ain't nobody just did that for nothing. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Somebody really wanted him out the way, and they didn't care. They didn't care what it was the cost. They did that. They didn't care about getting caught because they did it in broad daylight. That wasn't a factor to him. They wanted my son gone. They saying he was shot 3 times, Vlad. He was shot over 20 times. Still trying to get off that ground. Still fighting for his life. And they let my son die. The world saw how they did try to help him.
Yeah. Once again, I'm so sorry for your loss. My extreme condolences. I can't imagine what you're going through, having to relive this again. But once again, I appreciate you sharing your story, and I think that ultimately people seeing this is going to affect the future. It's going to affect people's actions, and hopefully Chicago will become a more peaceful city, a more loving city, where we don't keep hearing these statistics, but hearing a statistic like, murders are up 152%, you don't understand until you hear stories like yours to see what that really means. So once again, I appreciate you coming in, and I wish you only the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Peace.